welcome to the first day of Baking with Chicken. So today we're going to be making chocolate chip cookies. And before we do that, I'd like you all to meet my assistant, Topaz. Okay, so first we're going to preheat the oven to 375. While that's preheating, we're going to start by adding in the sugar, which we need a cup of sugar. And let's see how's Topaz doing. Huh, girl? Okay. So now we are adding our first cup of sugar. So now that we've added that, we are going to add the butter, which we've already gotten all warmed up. Looks like Topaz is very excited to cook today. Isn't that right, Top? So, we're adding the butter, which we've softened and has been having softened. And it looks like Topaz says yes. Okay, so now that we've done that, we are going to, now that we've added the butter, we are going to add the eggs. Which I'm afraid Topaz can't have any of those. As a chicken, she lays them. We don't want her to eat her own eggs. So those will actually go in very quickly before she eats these. So we're going to add them. We're going to make sure that the eggs are nice and clean. So these two eggs have been nice and clean. And now that we've added the eggs, we are going to add the vanilla. So we're going to add a teaspoon. So we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. Right, Topaz? So we are about to add our teaspoon of vanilla, and then we'll start up the mixer. There we go, our vanilla, and now it's starting. We're mixing the batter until it's smooth. Topaz is very excited. So we're going to start on mixing the batter together. Topaz is very excited today. So she's a little excited, huh? Yeah, she's a good girl. So now that we're mixing this together, until the butter gets smooth, and we're going to get a spoon here. And Topaz is very excited. As you see, she's watching the oven. And probably also wondering why the other chickens aren't in there right now. You're okay, Top.
Be careful.
I know. There we go. Top. I'm going to help you mix it. Top likes mixers. So right now, Top is very excited, and now that the batter is almost mixed, Topaz thinks the butter and flour is over there when it's over here. So now that we've mixed this pretty well, we're going to finish mixing that last bit of butter, and then we're going to add the flour, baking soda, and salt.
Better make sure she don't end up getting a thing in there. Feather.
I know. So now we're going to be adding 2 cups of flour. Right, Top? Topaz. Look. Now we're going to add the flour. And remember, this is Topaz's first time baking on Baking with Chicken. But it won't be her last, because next time we'll be making something different. And I'm sure Topaz is very excited for that as well. So, we put in the flour, and now that was 2 cups of flour, and now we're going to put in 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Right, Topaz? So, normally we don't have this super big box. Normally we have a cute tin. But right now we have this nice big box of baking soda. So we're just going to scoop up some here. When it decides to come out, so we got our teaspoon, put that in. And now we're going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So Topaz, remember, is her very first time cooking today. We're going to add our 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then we are going to mix it up again. Okay, so now that we are mixing this up, Topaz is extremely excited to keep going, but still, so Topaz is going to have to give us the okay on the batter in just a moment. And of course, the okay means she has to try it, I hope. Making chocolate chip cookies is Topaz's very first time being in the kitchen, and that's why it's such an exciting time. Topaz is extremely excited, and that's why she's been a little restless today. She's extremely excited, and the other chickens, I'm sure, are very jealous that she gets to be in the kitchen today.
Kissy.
Very quiet. So, now that we are making this, the batter isn't ready quite yet. It's almost ready. So we're just going to keep doing this. And now that the batter is ready, we're pushing this. The batter is now ready. So we're going to, looks like Topaz is very excited to try a piece of the batter. And she says it's good. So, Topaz likes the batter very much. So now we're going to stir in our cup of chocolate chips, which of course makes them like chocolate chip cookies, not just plain cookies. So now let's see. Topaz. Wow, Topaz has a bit of a snack. We'll put that one away for later. And we'll add in the chocolate chip cookies. Now we're adding sweet chocolate chips, which we're going to have to cut open again. So we're going to add 1 cup of these, and Topaz will get to try a chocolate chip. She's never had one of those before either. Okay.
No, you show me. Wow.
So, now that we've all had a bite of chocolate chips, we are going to start by stirring this up. Topaz, by the way, says that the batter is delicious, which is very good, coming from our chicken special guest. And also, if your dough gets a little battery, just add a tiny, tiny bit of water. Not even a cup, just a little bit, so that the batter will get better. Topaz likes it so much, she fell and made it fall on the floor. But now she got it back, and it's nice. And done. So, now that we've made the batter, we have to get out the pans. So now we're getting 2 baking sheets, which we are going to want to use. So, first, these baking sheets don't need to be greased. So I'm going to start putting this chocolate chip cookie batter right onto the cookie sheet. Right after we move the mixer, we're going to put the first one on. Topaz here has never cooked this before, so it's a very exciting day for her too. So, Topaz is special pet chicken. We got her a few years ago. And the reason we even started making this show, Baking with Chicken, is because Topaz used to sit in the window and watch me all the time when I was baking. So I thought, let's make a TV show out of it. And here we are, Baking with Chicken, which next week we will have a different chicken on that episode next week. So next week, you'll get to meet another chicken. Her name is Jules. Meeting Jules might be a little trouble. She's much more trouble than Topaz, but we'll try out any chicken that we can. Maybe we unfortunately we won't be able to meet my rooster Sapphire because, well, that's kind of self-explanatory. He's a rooster, and though he's nice, he's going to cause a lot of trouble in the kitchen. I decided. Well, you hear him. That's Sapphire. And, of course, now, you might want to know what type of chicken Topaz is if you want a great chicken baking companion. Topaz is a Barneveld. We got her a few years ago. And she is an extremely good chicken pet and friend. So now that we are putting these on here, putting chocolate chip cookie dough batter, they will flatten out in the oven, so we don't need to flatten them or anything. Look, Topaz just said that she loves them. It's very nice. Topaz? Topaz here is a little excited to tell everybody that she's got to eat so much in the kitchen. Normally, she doesn't get all the special treats. She does normally get some, but not a lot. Oh. So, with that in mind, remember, Topaz is very excited to get back. So she did have an apron on at the start of today's
She just pooped.
At the start of today's episode, but that we had to stop. But she decided to take that off. But that's perfectly fine. She's still technically wearing it. And now we are very happy because Topaz has been enjoying herself a lot. Unfortunately, your baking companion will need a little more training than what we gave Topaz. But don't worry, next episode, you'll get to meet Jules. And I'm sure you'll see why we said that Jules will be even more trouble than Topaz. But now that we've gotten that, we'll have to wait until that preheats, and that'll take just a moment. Okay, so now that the oven is preheated, we are going to put the cookies in. We're going to open this, and we're going to put the cookies in for 12 minutes. So we're putting these in, and we'll set the timer, and then, okay, so now we are setting the timer for 12 minutes. 10, 12. Okay, so now the timer's set, and we'll see you then. 6, 5, 2, 1. Yeah, go back 6. Okay, and here they are. Some very giant cookies. Okay. These cookies are big, so we are going to do so. We are going to start the timer and turn that off, and we will be back in just a moment. Hi, so we have our cookies and they're cooled off, but this isn't Topaz, this is her friend. This is Sunshine, and she will be taste testing the cookie, which that, I say, means it's good. Bye. see you next time on Baking with Chicken.